What is up, my peeps? It's me, your boy Ty Tech, welcoming you back to another episode of Life with yours truly, Christopher Ty Tech. Anywho, hope y'all are doing beautifully this wonderful Saturday early afternoon in the end of August 2021. Interestingly enough, I just realized that when thinking about the date was a video that I just watched last night about this great galactic alignment that we're coming into, which coincides with the end of like the Mayan calendar and some of the things that were predicted, how some people interpret it as apocalyptic, when in fact it's going to be basically like a rebirth into like a new age, supposedly an age of enlightenment and higher consciousness, and according to what they said, all of the negativity will be washed away, eliminated, or I don't know. I would love to believe that, but given the way things appear now, let's just say that I have some healthy skepticism. That being said, I also know that the night is darkest just before the day. So, and I do believe that there are enough spirit warriors out there and enough indigos and crystal children now that can help to propel everyone collectively forward and stimulate the great evolution that we as a species and as a humanity have been struggling to make for the last hundreds of years, really. But especially, I would say, the last 100 years, as the evolution of technology has gone, we unfortunately have not even kept pace with that in the minimum, which has created a great imbalance, because with great power comes great responsibility, as they say, and the way technology has advanced and the capabilities and things that it has given to us, with us not evolving along with that increase of technology to a higher level of connectedness and understanding, and higher levels of consciousness and empathy, and just just really what my therapist says is radical acceptance. And I think that just means, not assigning blame for anything, just accepting everything as it is. And then, I don't know, just being able to understand the very elementary basics about existing in this life, in this reality, in this world, is that the physical world and reality that we perceive actually is coming from inside here, and it's something that we are projecting. And as you think, so shall you be. So that which we project is that which we believe, which is what is real. And so, same thing that I told my children a few days ago, is a good way that I try to live my life is by the ethos that everyone else is living in my reality. I'm not living in theirs. So if that makes any sense, it just means that I am creating the reality that I wish to live in, and everyone else is existing in that reality, as opposed to me being helplessly stuck in the reality that I have no control over. So life, just again, elementary, or basic, fundamentally, is what I actually meant to say, is just all energy. It's really the whole entire universe, and everything that exists in this dimension and domain is all energy. Everything, if you think about it. And so made up of molecules and energy, and everything's vibrating at a different frequency. And our emotions are basically like an internal GPS map. It's everyone has one, and the reason is not only to color our experiences and to color our memories of our life and help us to navigate our lives and this world, and our imaginations and possibilities, but it is designed to, you know, to tell you, like, if you're feeling sad or depressed or unhappy or lonely or just, you know, desperate or, you know, feeling despair, any of those negative related emotions, or fear or hate or ugliness, any of that stuff that's negative, in my opinion, is basically just telling you, it's like your body, it's like your natural GPS's way of saying, please make a legal U-turn, like you're going the wrong direction, you know. And when we are in alignment with our dreams and our goals and our happiness and our life's purpose, and everyone has a different purpose, it can be whatever you want, but I mean, the key is figuring out what drives you, what inspires you, what makes you passionate. And when you feel great and time feels like it just flies by, and you don't really have the same concept of time, and you know what you're doing doesn't necessarily feel like work, even though it can sustain a living for you, and you know, or feeling in love and, you know, just happiness and bliss and joy and laughter, all of the positively related emotions and energies and feelings, that is your GPS's way of telling you that you're on the right track, you're headed right towards where you want to be. And also, similarly, everyone has good days and bad days, and also, you know, everything is temporary in this world. You know, nothing is permanent, so we need to just keep that in mind, and nothing is also guaranteed. So those are the things that make life so interesting and so beautiful, is just the variables and the possibilities. And so we just need to try to make the best of it, and if everyone can try to just basically understand about how energy works and how everything is based of energy, and how, you know, we are all vibrating at different frequencies at any different time. And so you want to try to be consistent with your own energy in a way that best represents your greatest your greatest potentials, you know, as a anything. Like, you want to be, I don't know, positive. Man, what the fuck you doing in my parking lot, bitches? This is my parking lot. My building. Need to clean off that back camera. It's got some dirt specks on it. It looks like mud. Some shit. There we go. Okay, now. So that's basically my, I don't know, basic understanding. And another thing too is, it's funny because my wife Kelly, you know, she's such an amazing person. She's really a very one-of-a-kind, amazing, beautiful woman. And so not very many women, from my experience, are as driven or as, I don't know, not just driven, but, you know, she is, I don't know, always aspiring to to be better, and she doesn't really ever count on anyone else for anything. She's created this amazing reality for herself of success, of owning, you know, two businesses, fairly significant businesses, especially for the smaller sized town that we live in, that are dominating the local market here, with her full service salon, hair salon, as well as her now beauty school that she is the primary teacher of, for her first class. Is starting her second class here in a few days, actually, or a couple of weeks or whatever. But she kicks butt, and so she's so driven and so goal oriented, and I don't know, it's great. It's been so helpful for me to help facilitate my dreams, because I'm much more of a procrastinator and a lagger, and I'm so much more other side brained or whatever. I fly by the seat of my pants more than she's like the organized and on time and consistent one, and I'm the sloppy, procrastinating, fly by the seat of your pants, winging it kind. But it's funny because it's interesting after 12 years seeing how both styles compare and contrast, and how in their own ways they have their strengths. And so regardless of how different they might be, we both are still able to get shit done in our own ways. So, but as I was making the point of, life is all about energy, and I just, the point with what I was going about her is I've been watching her do hair now for the last 12 years that we've been together, known each other, and I've noticed that just really in the last, I mean, especially in the last year to 2-3 years, but especially like since 2015-ish time, the change that we've seen in the public,
alarm off,
not just here locally but in society in general, between like our families throughout the country and just everybody. I mean, it's primarily through our relationships through social media on Facebook. I mean, there are obviously relationships of people, a lot of people that we grew up with, went to school with, and have known for a long time, who maybe childhood people that we've known, who are now on Facebook, and that's how we communicate and keep in touch. But since that, you know, it's Facebook's been pretty popular since about 2006, I would probably say, is when it really started taking off. But we didn't see this negative change with it until about 2015 or so. That's when it began, and it has just kind of metastasized from there to what it is currently, which is just, it seems as if the amount of negative energy on Facebook, and, you know, the amount of negative thoughts and rants and memes and ugly, divisive, hateful, bad, just negative energy that is put into that platform by all kinds of people now, a lot of them unwittingly even, you know, just because they become part of these groups that just generate tons and tons of these same kinds of memes and ugly thoughts and just disparaging, you know, hateful stuff, which might be kind of clever or funny, or, you know, memes are cool, whatever, but nonetheless, it's just ugly and negative, and like attracts like. So when you put that out there, it's just going to generate more. And a lot of times what people have gotten to the habit of doing now is, you know, people don't mind being as outspoken or as quote-unquote political now as they used to. It used to be more taboo. And so now, you know, you have people, so many people either constantly putting their opinions out there, which are very extreme or very one-sided or very closed-minded. And on either side or any side of any debate, not just singling out any one side, I'm saying everyone is guilty of this, really. And so, but when you just see something that you may resonate with you, or may reinforce your current belief system of what your perspective is on any type of whatever politics or whatever, and so you just, without even thinking about it, click share. Click, you know, share. And so many people are doing this, and what that's doing is it's just perpetuating these negative frequencies of energy, and it's just ugliness. It's just sucking back so much more of the same, and it's creating so much more discord and so much more distrust and so much more fear, and it's becoming a breeding ground for more intolerance and bigotry and ignorance. And it's tearing at the fabric of our society, of the glue that's held us together as a pluralistic, free society that tolerates everybody's differences and celebrates to an extent, our diversity. Because that's really what makes us great as a nation, is our diversity. And, I don't care what you say or how you might feel about illegal immigration to the United States, or whether we have an immigrant issue or what the problem is or who's to blame, or whatever you might think about it. I truly firmly believe that just looking at things from a much wider angle, if you take a step back and look at the big picture, if you see that how most Americans and probably most people in the world would also agree that just based on the sheer numbers of people that China has at 1.4 billion versus our 320 million in America or the United States, because their GDP per person is so much lower than ours, and since they have become so much more rapid growth and advancement, primarily off of the ingenuity and free markets that we've created the last 60 years, all they have to do is catch up a little bit and they'll overtake us, which is just the matter of fact based on like the gross domestic product or the total amount of the size of their economy. Of course it's going to be larger than the United States because just the number of people. But even considering that, China doesn't have the same problem with everyone in the world trying to go there. Even though, you could objectively say that China, in the long run, might be on a better trajectory than the United States for growth or for total per capita, whatever you want to say, success or richness as a country, or standing even. Why is it then that the entire world everyone would love to go to America? Everyone is still trying to come here. That's why we think we have so many record numbers of migrants coming up through Mexico. Even with the ugliness and all the problems that we have and all the mistakes that we've made and just all that negative crap, everyone still wants to come here because of the idea of America. The beautiful ideals, even though we have our warts and we have our sins and we have our problems and our pitfalls, our flaws, we still are the greatest nation to ever exist on this planet up to this time. And I do believe in the promise and the hope of America as her greatest strength. And so, unfortunately, a lot of bad actors in the world and bad, ugly forces and negative forces, out of jealousy or hate or whatever, or maybe even ignorance or misunderstanding, or, there's a lot of people rooting for U.S. to fail, for America to fail. And by a lot of measure, we do deserve we've generated some real negative karma with some of our mistakes in the past, including things like invading other countries, supplying arms to bad people, overthrowing certain governments. We've been terrible. A lot of innocent people have died or suffered at the result of our government's actions in the past. And so as a citizen, even though it's been before my time, but I feel the weight of it. And anywho, those negative forces, though, are more than happy to watch the current trends of how Facebook in particular, but social media in general, is tearing at the fabrics of our society and pushing us more and more towards civil war or some kind of permanent breakup between our society of all the tribes. Basically, that is why Afghanistan is the graveyard of empires. That's why no one could ever not just conquer the country, but ever create a system there that worked for them. regardless of what the host or sponsor government was, whether it was the Soviets or whether it was the British or whether it's us, you Americans, the reason is because Afghanistan is a very tribal nation composed of many different tribes. And obviously they don't have as much, as many luxuries or as much technology or, the quality of life that we here in the West have. But they do have very similar differences with how they all identify themselves by their tribes and such. And so it's a cautionary tale in that the reason why we are the beautiful country capable of what we are is because we have been able to overcome those base human, instincts of, fear of the other, or trying to identify yourself by tribe, or, just those ugly or negative energies. And I just, the more I think about it, especially it's been like an epiphany for me recently, but I really am starting to more and more believe that, we as a people are going to need to wake up to this, and either if we can't control it ourselves and see the problem and collectively take enough action to stop putting out so much negative energy that's tearing us, divisive stuff that's like tearing us apart, and stop giving into that. There's a few powers and people that are manipulating these tools to really create as much damage as possible, and too many of us are falling for it. We're vulnerable, and if we can't see that, then I just believe that we are going to have to give it up, like it's a technology that is, either it's beyond us or we're just not able to handle it in its current form. If they can't put some restrictions on limiting the amount of negative energy that can be put onto it, and I don't know if they would even, I just think that we are all going to need to decide to quit it, really. When it comes down to it. So I know that might not be a popular idea, and it would be hard for me, don't get me wrong, because I love sharing my life with people. It's a very interesting way to connect. It's revolutionized so many different things, including the music industry and being an artist and all those other things. But I would probably be willing to give all that up in return to get our unity back again. And as I was trying to make the point originally, which I kind of get scattered on, was just how in the last 5 years, since 2015, or 6 years, I've seen Kelly, my wife, who does hair. She's like the most well-known hairdresser in this town. She does anybody's hair, or has done anyone's hair who is anybody here of significance, and she's highly recommended. She doesn't take new clients. In fact, she's been getting rid of her clients because she's transitioning more as a teacher now. That being said, I've noticed the difference, though, between how her clients have how their energy has changed, because there's a reason why everyone calls hair stylists, they call them instead of a therapist, they call them hairapist, which is kind of cheesy, but there's a reason for that, because and I always ask her, what's the juice, because she gets all the gossip, she knows everything. And that's how salons are, women, they get together, they like talk, shit. So don't worry, I'm not going to reveal any secrets, but that being said, she has become more and more jaded on it in the last 5 years, to the point now where she's completely ready to give it up. She's ready to retire at this point, because she is so sick and tired of constantly getting whiplash all day long and being like in the middle of everybody's now very, very outspoken, opinionated political bullshit. People are constantly, and so for her, regardless of what she might feel personally, she always presents herself as neutral in order to minimize any kind of conflict. And she's even had to become more conscious now of her clientele, making sure she doesn't have people booked next to each other who are exact opposites politically, because that's happened recently and it's created a lot of issues and stress, and it's just not worth it because people now are so ridiculous. They're so outspoken about everything. Like, she even had a client a couple days ago who criticized her when she asked her about her own opinion about masks, because we're currently in the middle of a renewed temporary mask mandate for indoors. So unfortunately her state board is kind of strict, so she obviously enforces it, and this obvious anti-masker client of hers was asking her opinion about it, and I think she had said something along the lines of, I don't care, like I just, I don't want to talk about it, I don't care. And that client took offense to that and said, oh, well, maybe you're not a good business owner then if you're not paying close enough attention to like all these issues or whatever, or something along those lines. And I mean, it really was just offensive to her. And I mean, it just shows you how much people are projecting their bullshit and expecting you to buy into it one way or the other, to take sides. If you don't take sides, then something's wrong with you. I mean, that's what's wrong with things. And so it's true, people have become so much more outspoken and ideological and political and biased, and willing to believe whatever they want, whatever opinions that sound good to them, they can believe them, and nobody can tell them otherwise. So it's interesting to me how many people have chosen to believe things and refuse to believe other things. And it's just interesting, like, how do you come up with that? Because it reinforces your worldview and your perspective. It makes you feel like you're right. Like, it's great to get that feedback, but at the same time, if it's false, I mean, like, so the primary reason for that is Facebook, because unfortunately the algorithms of that platform and the way the ad revenue has worked has created these unintended consequences of bringing together these very large groups of vulnerable, impressionable populations, especially primarily in America, of online communities of now people who are reinforcing their own views and ignorances and creating their own echo chambers. And so when you're getting all the kinds of affirmations for these beliefs and these thoughts, which are, I don't even necessarily want to say wrong, but just ugly and negative and divisive and, whatever you want to put to it, it's just very unhealthy. And this culture that has emerged of anti-political correctness, where everybody is so unafraid to be outspoken about stuff, and unfortunately as close-minded as everyone has become, man, it's just freaking, it's heavy. But I just feel like it's leading us towards disaster at this point. It's already led us to disaster, but it's leading us more and more towards greater disaster. And until we can resolve this by either cutting it out, eliminating it, or changing the way that it, that it works, we're not headed in the right way, in a good place. So I just really, really hope that everyone can realize this, or at least enough of us can realize this, to make the changes that we need to make before it becomes too late. So, because I do believe that we have the power, we have the wheel of the ship in our hands, and we are able to determine where we're going to end up. If we need to course correct. I mean, not just for that, because if you look at an interrelated issue of the climate catastrophe and the current situation with the earth and how bad things are becoming and how quickly things are escalating in a negative way, with the massive wildfires all over the earth, the raging temperatures that get hotter and hotter every year, the extreme droughts that get worse and worse, the dropping water table levels in reservoirs. I mean, it's just, sorry, but where I was saying is, with the way technology has gone, history always, it doesn't repeat itself, but it has always rhymed several times. And because of our advancements in the technology that we've made specifically to warfare and nuclear fusion and all of that good stuff, if it rhymes again, it's going to be real bad. I don't know if humankind will be able to come out of that. If we do, it'll be greatly reduced. So maybe that's what has to happen. I don't know. I hope not. But I do believe that we have the power to change it, and it's up to us. We can do it. So that's what's going on right now. But anyway, and we need to do it. So I do think, like, Facebook is at the center of this. You know what I mean? Like, it just is. Social media in general, of course, because if you got rid of Facebook right now, then someone else is going to pop up in their place. I mean, Twitter already serves the same purpose in a lot of ways, maybe not to the same magnitude, but this technology needs to be, generally speaking, changed or limited or removed, just because the base human nature instincts and some of our ugliest tendencies have been hijacked and now are being magnified and misused in order to cause us self-destruction, really. So get my lights out of my car. I got more lights. Very excited about this. Very excited. Some very good lights. My live show is going to be amazing. Anyway, so I mean, I'm torn because I love Facebook, not just for what it allows me the possibilities for as a artist and as a musical artist and stuff, but specifically I love how we can all share those precious moments of our lives and those significant moments of our children and our marriages and our families, our adventures, everything. I love that, but I just feel the price that, if that's going to cost us the price of having to exist in this world where Facebook is the way it is now, with the amount of constant misinformation, negativity, ugliness, divisiveness, bad energy that is continually flowing through and affecting so many people and hijacking so many people, and just that I'm willing to give it up in order to eliminate those bad things, even though I'll lose the good ones. So those are my main thoughts on the current situation. There's my setup currently, which I cannot wait to show you with the new lights soon.